Catch Life and Technology with Charlie Brown every Saturday morning from 8, or download the latest Life and Technology episodes on your favourite podcast platform. Life and Technology, brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop in-store or online today.
Australia overnight. Now, the other morning I spoke to a caller on this program who told me that she had been love-bombed. It was a phrase that she used, sort of an online scam, and as a result she'd given this person, this scammer, this person she'd never met before, $10,000. And her mindset was sort of strange. We had a bit of a chat. Now, she knew that she was being scammed, but she continued to play along. Why? It makes no sense. Maybe the answer is in the next discussion that we're going to have with Karina Chapman, who's a dating coach and relationship expert. There's a new trend in dating called Dexting. They've coined it Dexting. So it's dating solely by text, giving you a sense of companionship, but it's all an illusion that you play out mostly in your mind. So to tell us more, it's Karina Chapman, our program dating coach and founder of Aligned Connections. Hi there, Karina.
Hi, Pat.
Now, I just thought I'd start with that little story because it stuck in my mind. That was a real caller to this program, and we had a chat, and she said she'd been love-bombed, and we spoke a bit further, and yeah, she'd handed over the cash, but seemed to sort of play along. I want to hear more about Dexting, but all I can think of is that you're sort of addicted in a way, or you're enjoying this back and forth. You sort of know it's an illusion, but the words are on the page, and you just sort of keep going. As far as, texting goes, or this digital relationship. Is that sort of what's going on in the mind of the person being, love-bombed or texted?
It is. And I think it's happening a lot more than what it ever used to before, because it gives a bit of a sense of companionship without actually requiring any time or energy for an in-person commitment. And even if you don't mean to think, I'm just going to text this person and never actually meet them, sometimes you just fall into it. And next thing you know, you've been texting this stranger that you've got some sort of cyber connection with for months and still haven't met in person.
Right. So I guess this texting is with a real person that you are texting. So my example is more of a scammer who's asking you for money. So this is a real person, but you've never met them and you're having a relationship via text. And it's a sort of a safe zone and you don't have to go to the effort of actually meeting, so you just sort of play along?
That's right. And I think that a lot of people feel that it's that little bit of companionship that they want. They're not really wanting to do a full-on relationship. They may in the back of their mind think at some point I'll meet this person, but perhaps they're busy, then the other person's busy. Always something gets in the way of actually meeting in person. So you just end up continually texting back and forward, having a little bit of a laugh from your text or getting something from it to keep doing it. But it's really low energy and low amount of time that you're putting into it. And I think some people actually prefer it instead of having to meet in person.
Well, that's right. As I hear you say that, I guess, is there anything wrong with that? I guess there's obvious flaws that, you'll never meet, and maybe it's a bit more illusionary than the real thing, but is there anything wrong with doing that?
Well, I guess if you're starting out with the mindset that you really just want someone to connect with and text is fine with you, you don't really want to meet anyone in person, you're too busy or you're really not interested, then fair enough. But for most people, when you're connecting with someone on a dating app and then you move to texting each other, the idea is that at some point you're going to meet in person. So you start off with that in mind, that at some point I'm going to meet this person. But before you know it, months go by and suddenly you realise, actually, I've been texting this guy or girl for 3 months now. Are we actually ever going to meet, or is this all it is? And am I okay with that, or do I really want to meet them?
Australia Overnight, we're chatting about this new thing, again online. It's been coined, another phrase called Dexting, with Karina Chapman, dating coach and founder of Aligned Connections. You know how you pick up little snapshots as people walk by? And because I do this radio show, I often listen to things, I think, maybe I'll talk about that. And you remind me, walking past my house, some young people talking about just a snapshot. But this young girl said that she was talking to somebody, I reckon or to several people, like 80 people or something. She just said something like, I remember thinking, what's going on there? So this might be another level, and it might be for young people who are just communicating with people, maybe on this Dexting level. So not just one, not just you and me, Karina, but I've got sort of 10 on the go. I don't know how I can track it all.
I think that would be pretty common as well, because Dexting is kind of like dating via text with little effort. So you certainly can add more than one into the mix, 10, 20, however many that you've got time to text back. And then, of course, if you don't notice that a couple haven't replied, it doesn't matter because you're too busy texting the other people.
Right. Well, that says to me it's some sort of, I use the word addiction. I mean, we all have things that we tend to do as a habit or something we go to for comfort. If you're, doing that with many people, texting and going back and forth, and then, someone doesn't reply and then you go to another, it feels like it's something you need. It's something that you might be slumped on the couch doing it all day.
That's right. It can sort of create this sense of, but it's actually an illusion that hinders authentic long-term connections in the end.
Right. You know what? You just cut out that vital word, sense of, it's an illusion. Oh. That's okay. Yeah. What was that word?
Yep.
The phone?
Yep. Yeah. So it can create a sense of intimacy. But it's often an illusion. So it doesn't actually help you to create an authentic connection. Yeah. And a lot of people don't realise that. They get caught into the trap. They don't realise that's what they're doing until months later down the track. And then they've invested all this time and energy into this person, but they might actually never meet in person. So do you want an authentic connection, or do you just want low risk, low effort, and someone just to ask you how your day was or what you've been up to on the weekend?
Right.
It depends on the strength of connection that you really want to make. But a lot of people fall into it by accident. They don't mean to do it. And they don't realise, they'll make a time to catch up. Oh, no, the other person has to cancel, or something happens with you, you're sick, you can't do it.
Right.
And it could even be 6 months before you kind of think, hey, I've never even met this person, and yet I know an awful lot about them. You may even talk on the phone perhaps.
Oh, wow.
But meeting in person is the best, because then you can kind of say to yourself, well, I don't know why I wasted all those months texting this person, because we're just not on the same vibration. Or
right,
perhaps, So I would say that although it has got its place occasionally, if you just want a little bit of sense of companionship or connection, yes, but you don't want more than that, great. But when you do actually want to have an authentic connection, then you want to set out a clear intention of, if I'm going to text this person, then we need to make a time to meet within the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
And if it doesn't happen, then what's actually going on? Is this person genuine, or are they actually wasting my time?
Yes. Often that light sort of flirty stuff at the beginning has an energy to it, so people are hanging on to that part of the relationship, and it's not progressing any further than that. They're sort of going, well, this is a fun little bit at the beginning, and I'm just staying stuck in this rhythm, this pattern. Do you think?
Exactly. And it is fun when you're having a bit of a flirt and it's someone new and it feels a bit exciting. So you do probably get a bit of an adrenaline rush. Perhaps it's releasing dopamines in your brain and you think it's fun. But stretch that out to several months, then you start thinking, what's actually happening here? Am I just wasting my time, or am I okay with this?
Australia Overnight, Karina Chapman, dating coach. So is then, going back to my story at the beginning, that's another level, isn't it? Can we connect these? Because if you're really enjoying that communication, that illusion, even when you sort of work out maybe the person on the other end isn't genuine, as I say, another level, you're not able to let go. You're sort of like, oh, I'm enjoying this too much, so, look, I know I'm just going to conveniently forget that maybe the person on the other end isn't ideal.
Exactly. And I think that there is that feeling of being cared for and loved when people are love bombing you, and you feel special, you feel like they really care. And even if you do get to that point, like the person that called in, thinking, you know what, I don't think this is a genuine person, but I'm actually enjoying what's happening. Well, maybe she thought $10,000 was a fair price to pay for that. if
Well,
she was really aware.
Well, that's right. That's what I was thinking too. Oh, well, she's handed it over, and maybe that interesting. It's an exchange of value. Yeah, which is a bit sad, isn't it? To put $10,000 because you're feeling lonely and you're enjoying sort of this love bombed or being love bombed. Now, tell me you've seen the movie She. Am I the only person? Surely other people have mentioned this. It's with, I'm scribbling down here to remember, Scarlett Johansson and the other guy that played the Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. Is it him? It's a movie called She, there, Karina, where he falls in love with a robot. It's from many years ago, but they often say movies predict the future. But the robot would say all the right things, or the computer or whatever, to the character in the movie, and he falls in love with her. So in a way, that seems to be what's happening.
Exactly. And I think that's becoming more common than what we realise, especially because there's a lot of apps out there now that are AI generated as a companion or as a romantic partner. And of course, if you're wanting to have a connection but you don't want any conflict, they're the perfect sort of person as such.
Yes.
Because they're not going to disagree with you. They're always going to do what it is that you want, as in commiserate if you're having a hard day or boost you up if you feel you need it. But then in the end, we're disconnecting from real people for our connection with an AI-generated companion. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Yeah. I think it's too new to know yet, but I would say that, one of the things that we really need as humans is connection with other humans. And I'm really not sure that an AI connection is going to be the same in the long run. Yeah. And they certainly can't ever hug you, can they, if you get to meet in person?
No, that's right. Well, anyway, there's sort of the technology is rocketing by. What does it say about us as humans? Maybe we need to embrace conflict. It reminds us that sometimes people in relationships, have disagreements or conflict. That's the real. That's real humans. We put up with each other and all our imperfections. Just because somebody's saying all the right things and comforting you when you want it, that seems a bit like a trap now. It's like, I think I want something with a bit more a dynamic sort of, dance between the both of us because it's more real, maybe.
Exactly. And also, when we are faced with conflict, then we have to learn how to deal with it and learn how to get past it. Learn compromise. There's a lot of lessons that we can learn from it, whereas we're not going to learn any of that with someone just agreeing with us all the time. Yeah. And in fact, I saw an article, a guy in Brazil has married a life-size, sort of human-size Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, yeah.
And, that's his relationship because it's the same type of thing. Although it's not AI, he's actually got this doll that is human size that he sits on the couch with and watches TV. And they apparently just welcomed their third child, which is a baby Raggedy Ann doll. So a lot of people struggle with real life connection.
Yeah. Look, I'm sitting here just going, yep, because I have, that is a thing, people falling in love with inanimate objects or all sorts of weird stuff. I mean, oh, man.
Exactly.
What's going on there?
I know. Another article, someone married a train station. I'm really not sure how that works in their mind. But
is it a joke or is it real? I actually understand where people have these ceremonies. They marry themselves. They do this. I sort of get they're just saying, I love myself. I'm going to make a commitment. I'm going to do a ceremony that says all these relationships, I'm over it. I sort of get that. But all this other stuff is bizarre.
Yeah, and I think that is a reflection on how they've had relationships from childhood. So maybe they didn't have a great relationship or relationship examples around them as they were growing up. And there was a lot of conflict, a lot of fighting, arguing, perhaps violence. Whereas, in their mind, somehow they must have thought to themselves, if I just have a relationship with a doll, they're never going to hurt me. They're never going to hit me, yell at me, be angry with me, and maybe that's safe. So unfortunately, they withdraw from human connection because the examples that they've had have been poor examples.
Karina, all our listeners or many of our listeners are saying, ask Karina about the 3 kids and how does that happen? And the 3, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go. And of course, the doll thing too. That's right. There's dolls.
I saw a photo of it, and it had the 3 children, and they all took after their mother, let's say.
Okay. All right, I might have to check that out. It might be one for we do a blank quiz here on the show where I get news stories from the week, and so maybe that's a good one to do. Sort of blank it out and see if people can guess what this guy is married. Was it this week? Was it recent? Anyway, I'll check it all out, and it's very strange.
It is.
All right.
But yeah, it just shows that there's lots of things that are happening out in the world where we don't really get to have that genuine connection that we really need. And all of these are Band-Aids to the real problem that a lot of people don't know how to communicate well. And, increase your ability to communicate, you can shift from that digital fantasy to a real world connection, and then maybe have a genuine romance, which is ideal, I would say, rather than something that's not really real.
133693 for our listeners to join the conversation and comment. 133693. Karina, it's always great having you on. Thanks for being on Australia Overnight.
It's a pleasure. Thanks.
Catch Life and Technology with Charlie Brown every Saturday morning from 8, or download the latest Life and Technology episodes on your favourite podcast platform. Life and Technology, brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop in-store or online today.
I'm investigative journalist Camille Bianchi. It only takes one rotten apple to spoil the bunch. Have you heard that expression? My new podcast series is called Rotten Apple. It looks at powerful people and celebrates the whistleblowers who call out when that power is abused.
I don't know, he just creeped me out.
He'd been a mentor to so many.
I went home and started investigating.
Rotten Apple is out now. Search for it in your favourite podcast app. Press the follow button and join the investigation today.
You developed the tools to build an empire. Climbing the ladder, 3 steps at a time. Now it was your name above the door. You envisioned your path to success while you were struggling on the treadmill. There's more to imagine when you listen. Discover self-development audiobooks on Audible. Download the Audible app and start listening today. Membership fees apply. See audible.com.au for details.